Hey, profit takers, welcome back. So it's about 8:30. The market's about to open, 8:30. I'm in Central Time, 9:30 for New York. Um, and we have news today at 10 o'clock. So I figured I'll just hop on here real quick and continue the first red day conversation. And I wanted to cover, we're going to look at crude because crude presented, a slightly different pattern. And let me bring out my pen. I thought I had it available. There we go. There it is. So we are going to bring this out. Okay, here we go. Here's what I added to this list. So we have our checklist here on what to look for. Now this is, when I started learning, I wish I'd learned all this when I very first started to trade because this would have, I feel like it would have been I would have been much further along than I am. But the journey is a journey, right? Which sometimes I'm like, can we just get there already? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I wish I had learned this because the people that did train me that were quote unquote students from the BTMM world could not even get on the same page on what the day count was. So it was a continuous struggle and they never explained this concept to me until I really started learning Stacy Burke. So by the time I was able to just dive into the videos, because you got to get into the videos, just when all the stuff that I'd learned over the years had started to make sense. Now, what I do recommend that you do, it's very important for the strategy to work, is that you have the high, low, open, close indicator on your chart. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting here drawing these lines. So this is MT5. I have the link in the description below to get it for free. The dashboard is, it's optional. You can try it for free. That link is also in the description of this video. You don't really need it, but if you want to cheat, you can, right? Just to help you to see where you are. And if you're looking at several instruments, you can just glance really quickly. You can just see here that ES is 2 days out and we have 2 days of breakouts already. YM is 5 days out and there's only 2 days of breakouts. So are we going to get our third breakout today? Right. Same with NQ, 2 days of breakouts. Okay. Platinum, 6 days out. It's 4 days of breakouts. It's already maxed out on the allotted ADR on the levels, right? It's in level 3. Level 3 was, such a big deal because it was where a lot of volatility happens. And that's where I would usually get caught, right? Getting and going on the wrong side and trying to continue and trying to take a trade like this long when it wasn't even ready, right? I used to get caught in that all the time. I just couldn't figure out why. Then you can see here gold, same thing, 5 days out, 4 days of breakouts. Silver's 8 days out. And this we're talking about from the peak. Now I know that Stacy counts Monday as 1, 2, and 3. And then today, Wednesday, is a reset of 1, and then Thursday's 2, and then Friday's 3, right? That's the weekly template, right? So when all else fails, that's what he says, just Monday's day 1. Okay. But within the actual 3-day cycle, now there's the 3-day cycle, right? And I used to draw this thing all the time, right? Where you had, a typical market maker cycle that doesn't always present this way. But you can see this one is kind of sort of presenting this way, but it doesn't always present this way. We were taught about sorry about that. We were taught about the A tops, and this was the trade that you wanted, right? Here's the other trade that you wanted. So you had 1, 2, and then 3, right? 3. Well, actually, I would just say that's 0 because this is just the first drop. And you have 1, and then 2, and then 3. Okay. So that's how it really should be. Okay. So yeah, so we know now that, to confirm that we have a peak high, it has to break the previous day level from it. So it's a breakout and it fails. Okay. That's the first thing. So the next day, it has to break the low, right? If it doesn't break the low on the next day, then perhaps the third day it breaks the low. Okay. And then you would count that as um, day two, right? And this would still be day one, and this won't be anything. But in this scenario, guys, we broke the high and we broke the low in consecutive days. Okay. So day one, now we confirmed that, boom, we got that going on. It did break it. And then the second day came and um, it breaks, right? We confirmed that the previous day low did get broken, excuse me. And now we have a day two, and this day also can basically tell you that this is, this is like a beautiful first red day signal because, it did everything that it checked the boxes. So then here comes day three. Okay. And typically, of course, we had the holiday. So I added that in here for day three because now we're in day three. Now this is trade day. Now, things can change if it's a holiday, or if there's news, right? But usually news can, go ahead and continue the move. But most of the time, if it's a holiday or if it's a narrow range day, because sometimes it can't be, if it's not a holiday. And then, of course, the day three, when you're looking to trade this thing, it doesn't present. So that's why we always say, look for the shorts if it presents. And you want to look for them you want to expect to take the trade off of the closing price level, right? That's what you want. But then here's a holiday on Monday. And, even though I'm still counting this break, even the dashboard is still going to count this break of the lows because it did trigger it, right? We close and breakout, and that's a good sign. We want to trade, out of balanced markets, right? But instead, it pulled back, right? We pulled back on the holiday, right? So we just don't count this day. I mean, we technically would still count the break because shorts are still in the market. It did trigger. But it closed inside, obviously, at the high, which is still a good sign, right? It's still a good sign because we definitely, you can see it was, slightly higher close than the open. So you don't ever want to get hung up on, oh, it closed below the open or it didn't close below the open. You don't want to get hung up on that. All right. What is price doing? Right? Where are you in the big picture? So this is the big picture. The big picture is nothing's happening on Monday, on the day three trade day, right? Nothing's happening. It's pulling back, getting that arrow going, right? So how's it go like this? It's doing that for you, right? So this is when you get excited. So now we're just going to count Tuesday as day three. And this is when the trade, we're expecting to take it off of closing price, which presented beautifully. Sometimes it can trigger the previous day high. It did not get it close at all to that. But you're watching to see how price is maneuvering. And another thing here, I have this green line, guys, and guess what? This green line is Friday's closing price. This is another powerful level that Stacey talks about all the time. This price will auction off from this level. And if you have these two things happening at the same time, and then you have, what we call this, I think he says, was it Paul? One of those guys calls it a pattern of the pattern because, you're having got the rectangle. I mean, yeah, you got this rectangle box. You have this giant M, and then within that M, you have a miniature M, a pattern within a pattern. So this is like money, 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 right? This is where you want to scale in, and this is your day three. This is your official day three trade that happened on day four. That happens all the time, okay? Because if this thing didn't even trigger a previous day level, then it would have been obvious, right? It's going to be obvious that it's an inside day. We're not even counting that at all because it didn't trigger anything. But since it triggered something, it's going to trigger the dashboard because that's how I had it programmed. But you have to look and see, okay, what's really happening here, okay? All right, so now we've had another closing breakout. We are now extended, right? You can even see here it's maxed out, right? We put in a high. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, right? We could, right now it's pumped up and now it's dumping. So it's almost giving me the indication that we could possibly continue to pump back up and take out this high, right? This is, again, we have news in 30 minutes. So I'm just going to wait to see. We don't have news on this is crude. We don't have news on crude or gas until tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, Thursday, the 5th at 10 and then 11. Yeah. So gas is at 10:30 actually, and then crude oil is going to be at 11. So that is going to, you want to keep that in mind for tomorrow. So if nothing happens today and if it continues to, because this could continue to break down. You know what I'm saying? It could continue to break down, and then this could be, what we're looking for tomorrow, because it could come down here and then it won't do anything until tomorrow, right? So I remember those days when I would try to take this long already, and it just wasn't ready yet to take long. So you're just going to have to wait, right? And right now, actually, the markets are open for crude and oil. They open at 9. And this would have been a perfect trade. I didn't take it, obviously, but this would have been a perfect trade to take short, right? To continuing the trend, right, from the previous month's low level, right? And possibly to the daily low. And then after that, you just kind of wait to see what happens, because like I said, it could continue to go down a little bit more before anything happens long. And it's just basically setting this up for the next day. Okay. I think that's going to be all for now. I'm going to go ahead and call it. And we'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.